first time I saw The Seventh Guest is what convinced me instantly that I had to buy it. I first saw it on a friend's Philips CDI and I was utterly blown away by how it looked. That does sound weird because FMV is basically a punchline now, but in 1993 nothing else looked like this. Also, I might be the only person alive to ever use the phrase "I first saw it on a friend's Philips CDI." In any case, once we got our trusty PC, a 486SX running at 25MHz with 8MB of RAM, upgraded with a CD drive, The Seventh Guest was one of the first games that we bought. Now, like I said, in 1993 and on a CRT monitor, the journey through the Stauf mansion looked amazing. Now, in the age of 4K gaming and 60 frames per second, The Seventh Guest is starting to look its age. In particular, the low resolution of the FMV really shows on a modern screen, and the frame rate as you move around the mansion does tend to chug a bit. That being said, the mansion itself does have some amazing art design. Each room has its own individual style and personality.
It's so beautiful.
And they're all rendered in such detail to give them an amazing sense of place. Also, I'd be remiss not to mention the music, as it accompanies you through every step of your journey through the Stauf mansion. George the Fat Man Sanger created an eclectic and atmospheric soundtrack that moulds and morphs to every single room, context and setting you find yourself in throughout the game. It's a huge part of what makes the game creepy and yet at times flippant and irreverent. Now, the FMV acting is on the cheesy side.
The Madman's Playroom!
However, one of the things I like is that each character is fleshed out with their own individual traits and, more importantly, motivations.
Once, I had beautiful hair. Once, I was young.
Can you give me real magic? Can you show me?
You are to spend the night as my guest, and in exchange, I will give you your heart's most secret desire. And you know what that is, Mr. Dutton, don't you?
Greed is a central theme amongst the characters who, with a couple of exceptions, are complete assholes. That greed becomes a central driver to the plot and the actions of the characters as they descend into greater depths of general foolery. Praise also has to be given to Robert Hirschbeck, who clearly had a whale of a time chewing on the finely rendered scenery as Henry Stauf, effortlessly flipping from ambivalent clown to malevolent overlord at the drop of a hat, and taunting you at every turn because, well, he's an asshole too.
Old Man Stauf built a house and filled it with his toys. 6 guests were invited one night. Their screams the only noise. Blood inside the library, blood right up the hall, dripping down the attic stairs. Hey guests, try not to fall. Nobody came out that night. Not one was ever seen. But old man Stauf is waiting there. Crazy, sick, and mean!
What I also like is that while the plot is cheesy, it's told in a non-linear fashion, leaving you to piece together the events of that fateful night in the mansion. It features multiple murders, implied shagging, and general darker themes than the games I'd played beforehand. So, Wee Scott thought this was the coolest thing ever. Trouble is, Wee Scott also liked the movie Surf Ninjas, because it had a Sega Game Gear in it. Wee Scott was an asshole too. So, on to the big question. How does it play? The gameplay itself is essentially a collection of logic puzzles, and for the most part they're pretty well designed. At best, the rules and logic for each puzzle are made clear, giving you all the tools you need to find the solution.
Oh, it says that we're each to have a piece. Exactly the same, including the symbols.
Why, that's impossible!
Certain puzzles, however, really don't give you enough information to have a hope in hell of solving them without either a guidebook or resorting to the hint book in the library, which eventually will just solve it for you. The cans puzzle in the kitchen is a particular offender. You know the theory that an infinite number of monkeys at an infinite number of typewriters would eventually produce the complete works of Shakespeare? Well, an infinite number of Wii Scots at an infinite number of 486 PCs would have never in a million years figured out the phrase shy gypsy, slyly, spryly, tryst by my crypt. And this maze? This maze can f*** off. So, is it worth playing today? Well, apart from the puzzles I just mentioned, they mostly seem fair and well designed, and I did enjoy working through them to unlock more of the mansion and the story. While the game's technological innovations have long been surpassed, the basic puzzle design holds up pretty well. As for the cheesy acting and story, that's kind of up to you. Let's put it this way, if you're really into cheesy, low-budget horror movies, then in its own way The Seventh Guest is still essential. However, if low-budget horror really isn't your bag, then what you're left with is a fancy puzzle book, and you may as well leave it. What I will say is, I'm not sure that the Steam version is the best way to play it today. The iPhone version, for example, runs a lot smoother than what you see here. It's also available on Android and from goodoldgames.com, but sadly I don't have those to test out. There is one other option though. Sort of. The 13th Doll was successfully crowdfunded in 2015 as a follow-on game from The Seventh Guest and its sequel The 11th Hour. It's fully licensed, fully canon, and it's due out in October of 2018. It features Robert Hershbeck returning as Henry Stauf, shiny new graphics, but with that classic gameplay, so if you really want to get a feel for The Seventh Guest, this might turn out to be the best way to do it. But that's a story for another time. Specifically, October of 2018. Anyway, did you love or did you hate The Seventh Guest? Let me know in the comments below, or find me on Twitter at EL_Pinata. Bye for now. Wish I had a house that big.
Don't think you'll be so lucky next time.